So that was the E Minor Harmonic Scale. And again, you've got this leap. The leaps from note 6 to note 7. Creating the tension and giving that Arabic, Spanish kind of sound, or elsewhere in Eastern Europe. So the notes, you've got E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. So those are going to be the most important notes, is noting in the key signature there's an F sharp, which is that note there. So you've got E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D sharp, E. And usual things, look out for consistency, and not too fast, but play it confidently. Have a good plan where you're going to play the scale to create the tone. Hopefully be in the right positions, because in this instance the scale goes from the 6th string to the 4th string, so you can actually plant all 3 fingers on the, say, the G, the B and the E to give yourself stability. So as long as your fingers are as far back away, that gives you room to play when you're playing on the D string, so it doesn't clash with your index finger. Or if you want, you can put all 3 fingers, this time on the E string, around about the rosette, and just make sure you poke that thumb a little bit further forwards. So it's all about, with the right hand, being comfortable. Now, a left hand consideration when you're playing a scale that uses all the lower notes is making sure you've got the grip right. So if your thumb's too high, for instance, you'll find it much more difficult to fret these notes on the 6th string. So one of the general rules is to get the back of the thumb down to around about halfway. So as long as your thumb is sort of the equivalent of behind the neck, somewhere like there, rather than being up there, I think somewhere in the middle would be quite sensible for this. And then you've got some options what you do with your hand, and these are all technical considerations that when what you're trying to do is create space for yourself to be able to play these notes. Now, with the left hand, you can kind of tilt the hand forwards, and that means that your thumb here sort of does this, it sort of starts to lift up a little bit. So you can experiment that when the thumb lifts, the hand moves with it. So you can experiment with this kind of tilting motion on the left hand. And it just, these little degrees, so normally if you think where you would normally feel comfortable, and then you just tilt it slightly, just test it, play a scale the one way, and then where you would normally have your fingers. So it might feel a bit of a stretch, you might feel extra tension on the across the fingers and on the back part of the hand. And sometimes by tilting the hand and tilting the thumb, you can get rid of some of that tension, and it means that the stretch isn't quite so great. And I do know students that that when they say play a G major chord and they're stretching between here and here, they find it uncomfortable. Now I find that in general, like 12 and 13-year-olds and younger, they have a problem with the stretch. And the stretch is always a problem for younger aged players. Usually adults don't have quite so much problems because the hands are bigger, but still being able to swivel the back of the thumb around enables you to get at this area of the fretboard, and that's why this scale is probably more of a challenge than all of the others. So it's just trying to find that comfortable spot so the middle finger at least is perpendicular with the fretboard. playing the notes E, F sharp, G, open A, fretted B, fretted C on the 3rd fret, D sharp on the 1st fret of the D string, and then the 2nd fret of the D string, which is an E. And now, if you're taking an exam, you don't have to stick to these fingerings. You can actually play any of the scales using any fingering. It's often best to stick to the basic fingerings, but if there's a note that you particularly really wanted to play, like you wanted to fret the A rather than play the open A, it would leave you a problem because your hand is now here and you've got to play a D sharp, which is either there or it's there. So sometimes by sticking to the original fingerings, it will help you find all of the notes in a comfortable position. Unless you're really confident and you're happy jumping about, but I personally wouldn't recommend it. If you could play all the notes in the one position, that's what I would do. And so just remember all the basics, which is the tone control, finding a good place to play the notes according to your strings and your instrument, at the right volume, in a relaxed manner. Here the suggestion is crotchet equals 96, so set a metronome and see if you can play the scale, with a reasonable sense of relaxation and confidence.